What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is about pretty much comparing the Ace VR system to what would just be, like traditional dry fire. I got the Ace VR system a few weeks ago. Actually, the first time I used it was at the North Florida sectional when I had a couple of buddies go down to Florida to shoot the sectional with me. I tried it in the hotel room and pretty much like immediately noticed the benefits of it. I didn't want to make a pros and cons list. I don't feel like there's any negatives to Ace VR or dry fire. I just think that they're different. And to kind of give you the final answer right now at the beginning of the video, Ace VR is a supplement. It's not a replacement to dry fire, in my opinion. There's things I did notice, and we'll kind of talk about it. Almost immediately after maybe like about a week of using the Ace VR, that I went to go do actual dry fire and things like seemed off. Okay, so for example, I ordered the SIG P320 module, right? They don't really have the Canik Rival S, at least not the way I have it set up. You could do like an aftermarket gun for this. I just didn't want to spend out another $100, $200 to get the Rival S, and it's not even set up the way I have it. So for example, I have like the brass grips. It's also like a palm swell. So even if I were to get the actual Rival S for the Ace VR, it still wouldn't be the same. So I just figured the P320 is probably the closest thing to this as far as the guns they offered with this system. Okay, so after a few weeks of actually using the Ace VR here at home, a few things I noticed that were immediate positives. Number one, it's competitive, okay? People like competitive things for the most part. Yes, it's still fun. It's not taking the fun away from it, but being able to look at people's scores from around the world on specific drills, what your scores were, how they improved, what you did wrong, what could have been better. You're connecting with friends online, looking at their scores, playing with them, things like that. Like, yeah, that's pretty fun to people. It feels like you're not just doing this by yourself in your garage. It feels like you're sharing that experience with others, and that motivates people to train more. So you can't sit there and say that there's anything wrong with that. All right, number two, it's interactive. It feels like a video game because it is, and I think that's another thing that makes it fun for people. So the MetaQuest 3 does a very good job at immersing you in your surroundings. When you're in like the main clubhouse, or they call it the hut, you can customize your equipment. You can change the gun that's showing up in the game, change the optic that's on the gun. You can scroll through the different types of drills and games and, look up where your ranking is and things like that. And it does a very good job of keeping you immersed in that, And before you know it, like, you don't even realize, like, wow, I've been playing for like 30 plus minutes already. And it felt like 5 to 10 minutes. And it keeps you, number three is like variety. So with all the different drills, there's ones that are more like based on like fun. There's more that are more uspsa and IPSC style drills, and actually like competition style drills. You can shoot stages that are like from nationals. You can shoot classifiers. You can shoot realistic games where you can actually like go through your house and like clear your own home and things like that. So there's like fun things to do. It gives you that variety. They're constantly updating the game with different drills. Like now that it's like Christmas time, they still have it up, like a Christmas series of drills, where there's like snow on the ground and Christmas trees and things like. So again, it makes it more fun. It changes it up. It keeps it fresh. And number four is like you can travel with this, right? So I can put this in my carry-on luggage and hop on a plane and like no one can say anything. Yeah, it looks like a gun. It's obviously not. But no, if I know I'm going to be away for a weekend or a week or two or whatever, I'm visiting family or I travel for work. Yeah, you can put this in your carry-on bag. It's a video game, and you potentially could play this on the game. Now, I wouldn't go like this, pointing a fake gun around a plane, but like, no, I mean, the actual use your controllers and play maybe a different game on the Meta Quest 3, not necessarily Ace VR. So that alone is another positive. I know we're talking about Ace VR right now, but if you have like kids at home or you just like to game in general, like I played video games for all my life, you know, this is the future of gaming. You know, as much as people may not want it to be, like virtual reality, like the better and better that VR gets, that's gonna be the direction gaming is going. And like they did a pretty damn good job with this alone. You know, yeah, there's no recoil when you're shooting, but like I wouldn't be surprised if like future Ace VR guns have a serious vibration system in here that actually makes the gun, you know, jolt a little bit upon actually firing. I wouldn't be surprised if that's coming soon. But they did a very good job with it. Basically, to me, what I'm getting out of the Ace VR is speed of vision and transitions. That's really all I care about when it comes to the game. And like, yeah, the variety as far as, okay, you know what, now I'm gonna do this drill, let me shoot this one a few times, I'm gonna do this one now. Oh wow, that's a new one, you know? So it keeps it fresh, you know? And then it keeps me motivated to beat my own scores, look at my friends' scores, stuff like that. Now let's talk about traditional dry fire. Okay, if I had to pick one or the other, I would just stick with traditional dry fire for a few reasons that I'm gonna list. One, I already kind of talked about, you know, actually handling my own gun. Canik Rival S, yes, you can get a Canik Rival S version of this, like in an aftermarket website. Again, it's not gonna be exactly the same. You know, I have brass grips on this. It also has like a palm swell. So in general, this gun's, you know, even if I had the Rival S version of the Ace VR gun, it's still not gonna feel the same. You know, just plain and simple. I like to handle my own gun. I like to actually handle magazines, like insert, okay, and actually practice like legitimate skills I would need when I'm competing. While Ace VR does a great job of like just, you know, processing speed and things like that, I'd rather still do traditional dry fire. Draws and reloads are another thing that you can do with a real gun and you can't really do with the Ace VR. It's just not the same. Movement, while you can do movement with the Ace VR, I still just don't trust it. I really don't. The Meta Quest 3 does a very good job of mapping your surroundings, especially like a solid rectangular room like this. You know, like this would be a great place to kind of do some movement in Ace VR. I just still don't trust it. I don't. Yes, it gives you warnings like as you approach, you know, objects, but still like this is made out of steel, man. Like the last thing I want to do is like swing my hand around and like bang, you know, because it didn't process my surroundings fast enough. So I just don't trust it. So when it comes to doing like movement with dry fire, like I just do it traditionally. Another thing with dry fire, like traditional dry fire, is you actually get focal depth changes. So for example, I have like a close IPSC target here, and then if I transition my eyes to that back wall, those are about 7 yards away. This is about like 1 yard away. So being able to change your focal depth and like actually pick a small spot on that target and have your eyes make that quick adjustment is another thing in itself. Same thing when I'm actually like reloading, you know, to actually have, you know, looking at the target that's 7 yards away and then go to reload and my eyes go to the gun, like this is now a foot away from my face. So that's like another thing when it comes to training focal depth. Being able to do that and having your eyes like shift quickly and actually focus in quickly. You can't really do that in VR. Yes, they simulate targets being far away. That doesn't mean anything. That's just a smaller target. Similar to that, you know, like you can see a smaller paper target. That's really not a focal depth change. It's just changing the size of the target to simulate it being further away. And you can push speed. So while like Ace VR allows you to push speed and things like that by keeping track of the score and the time for you, you could do that in dry fire too. You set par times, right, on your timer on the rig. So let's say I have those 4 targets on this back wall, and I want to shoot each of them twice for 8 shots total, that with a draw, I don't know, that might take 2.25 seconds, okay, something like that. So if I can do that consistently, okay, 2.15 seconds, 2 seconds, right? And then you just drop the time slowly and like challenge your vision speed and transitions from there. Just tracking it with a par time on your timer. Again, is it as fun? Probably not, to be in a garage by yourself with a par timer. Yeah, it's more fun having a headset on and hearing a round go off, even though it's not really recoiling, and then looking at the leaderboards and then trying to beat it. Yeah, we can argue that's more fun. I just prefer more of the realistic aspect. To me, this is still fun. Okay. It doesn't mean that dry fire, people who like ACVR don't think traditional dry fire is fun. It's just, for me, I don't mind it. Now, one thing is, I have not experienced using only ACVR for, let's say, about a week or something, and then going and shooting live fire. Mainly because I immediately notice differences within my traditional dry fire after using ACVR. So because obviously these are not the same guns, this grip angle is a little different. Even the hump here is different. This doesn't have a palm swell on it. Where the dot is, the red dot is in the game is not exactly where this is in real life. My grip pressures feel different. Like, I actually have to hold this gun differently than I hold this one, my Canik Rival S, just because when I go to pull this trigger, okay, usually in the game it'll move left a little, so I kind of have to like change how I pressure the ACVR gun so that it's not really moving too much when I pull the trigger. And yeah, like this feels different. Like this feels like I can pull the trigger and like that dot's not moving when I pull the trigger. I've just ingrained myself to just hold the gun a very specific way. So what I noticed after using ACVR for a few days and then trying to go dry fire, my dry fire felt off. I went to go present the gun. I was like, what the heck? Like, where's the, and like I almost had to like, in a sense, find the dot again, right? And there we go. Like now I have it, because I spent a lot of time yesterday like dry firing. So this feels a little more natural again, which is why I wouldn't ACVR for, let's say, a few days and then go shoot a match. Like, I would not do that. That doesn't mean you won't get any positives out of it. Again, like speed of vision, transitions, you might see a slight improvement in, right? But I wouldn't go from ACVR to live fire and expect to like shoot very well right off the bat. So that is something I did notice. So that's why I said in the beginning, this is a supplement, it's not a replacement. So something I actually did yesterday is I did ACVR for about 20 to 30 minutes, took about an hour break, and then I came down to the garage and actually did some traditional dry fire. And I did notice a positive difference. Like, I was like, wow, I'm actually like transitioning well right now, and I felt like my eyes were seeing things faster. Obviously, again, like I added in like reloads and draws with this, but which you can't do on here legitimately. But for the most part, yeah, there was a positive effect, going from ACVR to traditional dry fire. So in the end, if I were to just keep it, I don't want this video to be too long, but if I were to keep it short and sweet, yes, it's a supplement, it's not a replacement in my opinion, but do what's gonna motivate you to train consistently, okay? And that's why I got this, is because, you know what, maybe there's a day where I'm like, it's winter, it's kind of cold here in the garage for the most part, like maybe I just want to stay in my bedroom and just do ACVR for 20 minutes. Okay, that's awesome. You know what, that's better than not training at all, So I think that's a good aspect. Again, if you have maybe kids at home or you travel for work, stuff like that, like this is a great tool to have, ACVR is, just because you can carry it with you. You don't have to worry about carrying your gun places that, and traveling with that. Or maybe you're just a traditionalist, kind of like me, and you enjoy doing your dry fire. You have the ability to put targets around like a room and kind of leave them up. And I have targets upstairs too, like in my bedroom and guest room. So like if I need to put them up, okay, put them up. I'll put up like 2 or 3, do some drills. Okay, take them back down, put them away. There's nothing wrong with that either, but again, it's like if the targets are up already, it's that much easier to get motivated to train. You know, the more steps you have to take to train, right, the less likely you're gonna do it, okay? So if this is by your bed and you're in your warm bedroom and that's more fun to you in the moment, by all means do AceVR, you know. But that's it, guys. You know, I just wanted to share my opinion on it. It is worth the money for what you get, especially since the meta, you can do other things with this. If this was like one tool, like if this was only AceVR, I would say the price is pretty steep for what you're getting, but it's not. This is gonna be the future of gaming. I promise you that, okay? So you're getting this, and this should last you a very long time if you take care of your stuff. Choose whatever gun when you're ordering that suits you best. The P320 just suit me best for what they offered on their website. Either way, don't avoid traditional dry fire, okay? It's a supplement, it's not a replacement. But that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to share my thoughts. Thanks for watching. Keep training, keep working hard, and I'll see you guys soon.